So today we are going to talk about how can we safeguard a child, and the topic is all about creating awareness, talking to our child, keeping an open line of communication with our children so that they can come to us and talk about what is happening in their life, right? So in order to understand that, we need to understand who is a child. So in India, a child is any human who is below the age of 18. Yes. So even if the child is 16 years old, 17 years old, they are still a child, right? Till the time the child is 18-year-old, the child is a minor, and we need to equip ourselves. We need to equip ourselves with the skills to keep our children protected and safe. Now, who becomes a trusted adult then? So, at any given point in time, a child, a person, even as adults, grown up adults, we have five people who are closer to us, right? It can be our parents, it can be our friends who are very closer to us, it can be our grandparents, anybody. But any given point in time, five people will be closer to us. And while we are talking to our children, we have to make sure that they understand the meaning of the word trust. Now, that is very important. And you have to portray it to them. You have to display it to them like how you as a person trust couple of people. They will pick up the concept, the ideology of trust from you, right? So when you say that you trust X person, Y person, A person, B person, C person, they will also start telling out who all they trust. Now that we understand trusted adult, it is very, very important to make them keep reminding themselves that who are the trusted adults in their respective lives. After understanding the concept of trusted adult, after understanding the concept of yes, they are children, we need to now understand the concept of use, misuse, and abuse. These three concepts are very, very important. So if you have a pen in front of you, in order to write with the pen, that will be a useful scenario of a pen. If you want to use the pen as a dart or use the pen as something like a spoon, that is misuse of the object pen. Now, abuse would be all in all to break that pen. Now, we need to show the child that this is abuse, right? And there are various forms of abuse, but totally we will be focusing on sexual abuse here. So, child sexual abuse or child molestation is a form of child abuse where child is subject to some sort of sexual stimulation. It need not always be physical. It can be through showing them something or telling them explicit words while they are around by an adult or an older adolescent. However, not necessary that it will be an adult person always, it can be from peer to peer also. And child needs to know that they have the right to say no if someone touches them in a way that they do not feel comfortable to. We will talk about how to identify what is the touch that they are not comfortable with, what are the touches that they are comfortable with, what are the scenarios that they feel afraid and they do not feel afraid, right? In order to understand that, this is the most important concept. We need to understand the types of abuse: physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, medical abuse, and last but not the least, neglect. So, physical abuse, as you can see on the screen, you can find it out that these are the kinds of abuses, but all of it roots from the fifth form of abuse, which is neglect. Very, very important form of abuse that all of us here need to understand, need to internalize this so that we can deliver a safe environment for the child to grow up. Neglect means that when the people around the children are not providing them attention, are not providing them care when the child asks for care, when they cannot provide food, shelter, or other basic necessities that the child is coming to you and asking you for it. Very, very important to not neglect a child. Even neglect of care and attention can spiral out of control, and the child might seek that elsewhere, out of the household, right? So, what happens once the child goes out and seeks attention? Let me ask you all. If, let's say, the child does not get the attention that the child deserves, require for a healthy upbringing, healthy nurturing, what happens in that kind of case when they do not get attention in the household, in the institution where they are studying, or from their friends? What happens at that particular point of time when a child does not get attention, care, compassion, love from people? That child deserves care, compassion, love, and attention. Now, this is a question I'm asking you all. Please use the chat box. Yes, I got my first answer. They feel demotivated. What else? I think we have a good number of people in the meeting right now. Use the chat box. Try to put your answers in the chat box. They grow up to be detached. They will seek the same attention, care, love outside of household. They will feel alone. Trust, yes, they will start having issues with trusting people that are around them, insecure, seek validation from external people. They will be vulnerable. They will lose confidence. They will, yes, mental health issues. They can develop depression. They can develop anxiousness, anxiety related issues. Yes, mental issues are very much relevant in children also. If they are not getting a loving, caring, nurturing environment to grow up in, they can develop depression, early childhood depression, early childhood anxiety, trust issues. Yes, socially isolation. They can become more aggressive. They will start throwing tantrums. They will start throwing things around in the house because they are not getting the attention. So what they will do, they will press your buttons where they know you will get irritated. They know that if you are on phone, if you are working on laptop, if you're sending that important email, they might come and try to shut the laptop. They might come and try to hit the phone because they are perceiving that these devices are more important for my father or for my mother than me. Aggressive overreaction, maybe because we are perceiving that as an overreaction. However, for them, they are acting out so that you react to them, you give them the attention. All of this starts from neglect, withholding attention, love, care, compassion. Yeah, these are the kind of children who will ask this attention from you. Now, a flip side can also happen. They might go silent, they might withdraw themselves from you, they might not speak with you. They will grow up, and then you will worry that why my child does not participate in anything, why my child is not talking to anyone, or we might just categorize them as my child is introverted child. And outside, when somebody understands that this is a product of neglect, they might do something known as grooming. We will talk about that when I talk to you about the kind of attacks or the kind of nurturing the perpetrators do to attract children who are vulnerable. However, in order for all of this to be under control, we need to provide them enough attention. We need to keep the channels of communication open for them. We need to talk to them. We need to make them understand, make them aware of their own body. How do we do that? First of all, we need to first tell them that their body is special. All of their body parts are special. However, some of the body parts are private. So we need to name these private parts. And what's the best time to talk to them? While you are putting them to sleep, while you're providing them a bath, while you're talking to them post school, preschool, keep reminding them, because we as adults only hold 20 minutes of attention span. After that, we tend to lose the ability of focus. We tend to lose the ability of concentrating. That's why reminders, to do list, calendar, meeting, all of this becomes very, very important. That is the reason we need to continuously remind them, give them the ownership, tell them, just like we remind them about anything else, right? So, first of all, telling them the entire body is special, then naming their private parts. So, how many private parts are there according to you? Just put a number. How many private parts are there? I'm sure Vivero staff will already know this. So, I ask Vivero staff not to participate. I only ask parents to participate in this. Five, five, four. How many private parts are there in a human body? Okay. Five, four, five. Okay. Five, four, six, five. Everything. Four, six, five. All are private parts. Three. So there is a list of private parts which are supposed to be private parts. However, it is independent individual decision so long as to what I considered in my body as private. But however, generally accepted private parts in a human body are there. I'm asking that. So the private parts for any human being are four. Up until 2018, 18, I think, there were no 2022. Uh, No, 2018 only. Sorry, my bad. Up until 2018, there were three private parts, which is chest region. In boys, it is penis. In girls, it is vagina and buttocks. But recently, into 2018, UNICEF also listed lips as a private part. Provide specific scientific names to private parts to the children, because if a child is having a problem in their respective private part, how will they come and tell you if they do not know what their private parts are named? For eyes, I do tell my eyes are paining, my eyes are hurting. For ears, I do tell my ears are hurting. But when it comes to my penis, I might not tell because I don't know. I was never told my scientific private part name by my parents. So how will I tell? Most of the people tell them as susu part, potty part, but they never give the scientific names. And more importantly, more so ever, not the uh, scientific vernacular names. We call our private parts as some slang names. We do not speak openly about private parts in India. The names given are very derogatory. I mean, we only feel the shame. But let me tell you, children do not have the concept or the ideology of shame developed yet. They are very curious. They are learning these things from people around them. So if we talk about their private parts as if that is something to be ashamed of, they will develop the ideology that this is something we need to be ashamed of. We do not need to be ashamed of. We need to talk to them about it and tell them that these are private parts. And in 2018, lips were listed as private part because a lot of nerve endings are there in the lips. And if some uh, touches are appropriately or inappropriately placed there, then the child can get in the state of arousal. And that's why lips have been listed as private parts. And repeat the names, of the private parts in the vernacular language to your children. And trust me, you can start talking about your private parts as early as the child is 2 years and onwards, because this is the time when they start developing language, when they are trying to make up sentences, when they are trying to tell you about how their day went. When they fall on the ground, they will come and tell, Mama, Papa, I fall. Or they will try to uh, make sentences which are not grammatically accurate, but they have managed to communicate the meaning behind why they are communicating with you. So, this is the time, this is as early as you can introduce the topic of safety with them. Tell them they are special, body is special, all parts of body are special, but some are private, and these are the private parts. All the private parts are always covered by the swimsuit clothing. If we are going for swimming, we do cover these areas, right? So all the private parts are always covered. And lips are private too. Even if they are not covered, you do not let anybody touch them. So, what are the parts covered by the swimsuit? You demonstrate and show it to them right before you are falling asleep. That is the ideal time, because they either want to listen to a story, they know that you are also making them fall asleep, so you will spend some time at that time. They are the most prone to learn these aspects when you are putting them to sleep. So name them properly. You can talk with them as early as they are forming sentences. So with my child started learning or forming sentences as soon as he was 1 year and 8 months old. And that is the time my wife and I both spoke to him about this topic about safeguarding himself. So give the rule, private parts should always be covered. As the name suggests, they are private. And trust me, believe me or not, I think this was observed 2 days ago when he was going to urinate in the bathroom. One of the trusted adult will accompany my son, but my son said, please close the door. I do not want others to come or see. Or even while they are passing the bathroom, I do not want others to see. He was confident enough to tell, close the door. I want to do it privately. This is the aspect. You may feel good as soon as they start implementing it. But trust me, we started talking about this when my child was 1 year, 8 months old. You may think that it is not working out, but my son today is 2 years and 6 months old. This is when they start putting that into action. We started as early as 1 year, 8 months old. Now it is 2 years, 6 months old. And now is how he has started demonstrating. He has started confidently talking about these things at the home. So even the grandparents are respectful of what he's saying. Even we are respectful of what he's saying, because he has taken ownership of his body. And now he's communicating that to others, and others are respecting his safe, right? After this, so once you have introduced the concept of private parts, you need to slowly start introducing them to the concept of safe touch and unsafe touch. Safe touch, you need to start demonstrating that these are safe touch. Hugs, kisses, pat are all safe touch. A push, a slap, or a hit are all unsafe touch. So, how we showed it to our son was that both my partner and I demonstrated it with each other. So, when there would be a hug, when there would be a pat, or when there would be a kiss on the cheek, the partner who is receiving all of this will show that they are feeling pleasant through emotional expression. And when there is a hit or a push, even just for the demonstration purpose, we enacted it out that this is not something the partner liked it. So we told them that this is what unsafe means. This is what safe means. And of course, we did it in our vernacular language. We did not do it in English. So we showed it to them. He understood. And then he started demonstrating the actions which made my wife and both me safe. Whenever we were feeling a little low, whenever we were feeling that our emotionally we are feeling drained, or we are tired, or we are in some sort of a tension, he would come, and he took this activity as an example that I should make my parents feel safe. He would come and hug, he would come and pat, and he would come and kiss, and he would say, uh, hit no, slap no, push no. So he will say aga yes. So he does not say hug, he says aga. So aga yes, kiss yes. So he will come and do it and show it to you. And then we also demonstrated any touch to this area is unsafe, any touch to this area is unsafe. So this other day, I think we took him out to a hotel, and the uh, waiting staff was really, really adamant because the son is very cute. They were playing with him, and they wanted to kiss him on the cheek. And guess what he said? He said, no, no kiss, only handshake. So he had determined boundaries for him, himself, because he felt the ownership. And both my wife and I exchanged the glance, and we knew that we were educating the child properly, because he knows when to say no. And we did not have the need to tell the waiting staff that don't do this, my son don't like this, or we felt threatened that, oh, the kiss might just land. My son just stood up and said, kiss no. And the waiting staff also respected my son's desires, my son's affinity, that I respect a handshake, but I do not need to be shown love through kisses. Kisses are only for trusted adults. Kisses I would not receive from somebody else, right? So safe touch needs to be demonstrated, unsafe touch too. And the thumb rule is private parts unsafe. Anybody touching private parts is unsafe, except for cleanliness and for doctor's visit. Safe touch to private part is time and need dependent only. So two of the exceptions is cleanliness and doctor's examination. Otherwise, nobody can touch my private part. And this is the rule. Nobody can touch my private part. I won't touch anybody's private part. Even if you felt good, even if you felt ticklish, it is unsafe, right? So you need to make them empowered. And note to parents here, 2000 up until 2016 to 17, the module was known as good touch, bad touch. Most of the TV series also, whoever did anything on child safeguarding, everybody would say, yeah, we know about good touch, bad touch. So the terminology has changed. It is not good touch and bad touch anymore. It is safe touch and unsafe touch. There is a scientific reason behind it, because as human beings, we have basic needs of food, clothing, shelter. Similarly, sex is also considered as one of the basic needs, and children who can get developed or can hit puberty younger to their age might feel good to a particular touch on their private part, but it is still unsafe. That's why UNICEF very carefully, after a lot of research, has changed the terminology from good touch, bad touch to safe touch and unsafe touch. Even if they might sexually feel pleasured, feel good, feel tickled, but touch to private part or any part that they feel weird or they feel afraid, they feel uncomfortable, is still unsafe, right? So the good touch, bad touch days are gone. Now it is safe touch, unsafe touch, right? After this, the rule needs to be reinstated. that if your mother or father is cleaning your private part, or if cleaning yourself or giving you a bath, then a trusted adult can do that, or a doctor, if they want to examine your private part, given that there is a pain, or given that there is something which is going wrong which you are unable to explain, then a doctor can examine your private part, but your trusted adult should be there. Trusted adult, who are the trusted adult? The five people that the child only selected in the beginning of the talk when you were giving them. So this talk might be only for this 40 to 50 minutes talk that I'm giving you. But how does it look like to a child? Over days, each night, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you keep reiterating, and then remind them, keep reminding them. That's how it looks to them. So, because we are grown ups, we are adults, we can grasp a topic very quickly. That's why this is just 45 to 50 minutes of talk. But with a child, it needs to be done in a systematic way every day, little. Take one slide's information on one day, second slide's information on second day, so on and so forth. And keep reminding them every now and then. So let's say this hotel thing happened, somebody did something, and my son would not have said no. That particular evening, I would have given my son a reminder of this is how it might feel unsafe. Is that the person whom you trust? If so, why did you trust them? Is it because your father trusted that person? Is it because your mother trusted that person? Getting to know the reason behind that, and then reminding them the entire talk once again, right? And then we talk about body boundary. Now, this is very interesting. Who who the body belongs to? The child needs to know that the body belongs to that child, right? And who's the boss of your body? The child says, I am the boss. Then, if you feel uncomfortable, who gets to say no? The child will say, I get to say no because I am boss, right? And you can tell it to children through reiteration, continuous reiterations. However, I got a message saying that is story is more effective way to communicate this. Yes, and no. Yes to the story of making them understand the concept. No, because when it is about telling them or naming the scientific facts of about their body, you need to tell it directly, straight like a fact, so that they can receive and understand it like a fact. Stories can get translated into their head as a fairy tale, but you need to assure them while you're talking about body safety, while you're talking about safeguarding their uh, experience to abuse, you need to talk to them very seriously, assertively, but give them facts so that they know that this is not a story. If you need to make, for example, body boundary as a concept, you need to make a child understand. You can tell the story about how somebody visits your home. They do not come via the window, they do not come via the balcony, they do not come via the terrace, they come via the front door. How do they come? They ring the bell. And once, if we are comfortable, we go towards the door, we open the door. But we open the door and we have first conversation with them. If they are somebody whom we know, then we welcome them in. But if we don't know, they have come for the first time, we talk to them, we understand, we calculate whether this is somebody whom we can trust or not, right? And only then do we open the door. So, in order to make them understand about boundary, you can tell the story. But when it comes to the fact, who gets to say no? The boss. Who's the boss? I am the boss. So if I am feeling scared, if I am feeling afraid, if I am feeling uncomfortable, confused, I get to say no. Initial days, the child might say no to everything and anything. As a parent, you may have to withstand that. If you say, put your toys in the box, they may say no. But remember, you gave them the power to say no. Now, don't take it away. So when they say no, Make them understand that cleanliness is important. That's why we are asking you to put your toys away. So here it is not about your safety. It is because you're feeling lazy, or it is because you're stubborn. You're not putting the toys. You need to put the toys in the bucket. So when they say no, do not get angry. They might use the power of no for everything and anything. At that time, do not change or do not take away the power of their saying no. Let them say it, make them understand why it is irrational, reason with them, they will listen to you. And then when they say no in the places which it matters the most, you will be the most proud about your child saying no, standing up for themselves, right? Ask them to trust their instincts. Ask them to pay attention to your feelings. And if they freeze, or somebody has told, if they freeze, something is wrong is happening, they still need to tell no. They still, and the rule is this. I was about to come to this rule in some time. The rule is no, go, tell. So first they have to shout at the perpetrator when the child suspects anything unsafe, confusing is happening. Say no. Second step is go away from there, leave the location as fast as you can. And last step is tell to a trusted adult. First trusted adult might not listen. Keep on telling till somebody listens and helps. Tell, 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 tell 5 times, because there are how many trusted adults? 5 trusted adults. Try telling no to, try telling that whatever happened with everybody. Somebody or the other will listen to you. So no, go and tell. This is the golden rule. However, despite telling no, if something is happening, the perpetrators is continuously doing something, or forcefully touching the child, ask them to keep saying no. Because you will believe me or not, I have spoken to perpetrators who are behind the bars, and I have so many stories. And trust me when I tell you this, I've spoken to Vivero staff about so many stories, that the gist of all is that the perpetrators feel a well-learned child, a aware child, is very hard for the perpetrators to abuse. It is those neglected, isolated, don't know about safe touch, unsafe touch, don't know how to distinguish between their private parts, and don't know about body boundaries, are the easiest targets for the perpetrators. So if the child is saying no, the perpetrators is are caught off guard, and they will stop what they are doing, because the perpetrators will not expect this kind of a reaction from a child. And when the child tells it, when the child shows the no and the conviction in saying no, the perpetrators stop the abuse altogether. They also have fear within them, because they know what they are doing, the perpetrators are doing, is something wrong. And when the child has the ability to say no, trust me, it is not the child who freezes up, it is the perpetrator who freezes up, because they know that they are doing something wrong to the child, and it's not the other way around, right? Couple of factors. If something of this sort has happened, no, go tell. While they are telling you, remove the guilt or the shame from the entire incident, because just as a child falls, child looks at you for your reaction. And if you say, yo, my child has fallen, they will cry all the more. And if you look at the child and say, it is okay, you fell, get up, pat yourself, and start running again. If you maintained a firm exterior, calm exterior, the child does not cry. The child knows that they did a small accident, there is a little bit of hurt, there is a little bit of blood. They will come to the parent, they will put the cream, they'll put aloe vera gel, and the child will start running again. But if you panic as a parent, the child looks at your reaction and knows something grief has happened, and I need to cry more. I need to cry a lot more. And the child will go out of control. right? Similar thing happens here. When something of this sort has happened, make sure you address the child first. You ask how they are, what is their feelings. You take an account of all of that, because most often I have seen parents, while I have gone, they ask the child, who was that person who did this to you? They are more worried about the perpetrator rather than the child. So listen to your child, take the download of the entire uh, information, and then you calm the child down, remove the guilt and the shame from this entire incident. It is never the child's fault. It is never the child who needs to be guilty. It is the other person. If anyone touches the child's private part or asks you to touch their private part, child, and asks the child to touch their private, tell your trusted adult and keep telling until you get the assurance that they will be safe from this kind of a scenario in the future. Here is where I want to give underlying information that it is not just the stranger danger that you need to be worried about. It is not always a stranger. It can be somebody who is known to the parent, who is known to the grandfather, who is known, who visits very often. It can be anybody who can be doing this to our child. So when a child says something, always give them that trusting ear and confront the person about whom the child is saying something. It is not that the child is fussy, child is doing this for attention, child is doing things like that. No, trust your child, because child is using a lot of courage, a lot of strength to come and tell you. That means something has happened. Yes. So regarding the safe and unsafe, like I said, the four private parts are totally unsafe zone. Nobody gets to touch my private parts. That is unsafe. And I would touch anybody's private part. That is also unsafe. However, if I feel uncomfortable when somebody is touching on my arm also like this, if I am feeling uncomfortable, like I mentioned in body boundary, I am in charge of my body and I get to say no, because I felt weird, I felt afraid, I felt confused, I did not understand what is this kind of touch. So I say no. That is it, right? Having said this, remove the guilt and the shame, reiterate no go tell, and towards the end, keep doing this summarization every week, every month, up until child knows it thoroughly. That give the child ownership of their body. Let them know about private parts. What are the differences between safe and unsafe touch? Give you the child the right to say no. What are the child's right? And inform the authorities if the case is much severe, right? Keep reminding the child they are precious, they are special, they are responsible for their body. And as long as they are with you as their guardian, as their trusted adult, as their parents, grandparents, as the teachers, you will make them feel safe, right? Having said that, I now end my talk.